Hello and welcome to another video from Battlefield Banter. Today we're looking at Conflict of Heroes from Academy Games. This is a tactical World War II game of platoon-sized engagements with each counter usually representing a squad of infantry, one crewed gun or one vehicle. And that's reading verbatim from the rulebook. And today we are also above and beyond the Conflict and Heroes base game. We're looking at the solo expansion. So you can see here we have the solo track sheet out and solo mission 1. We're going to run through search and destroy. So normally you wouldn't have all this clutter on the map, but this is a very small engagement which probably will just center around the village we see in the center of the map here, and so we'll likely not expand off this region of the map that's currently exposed. If it does, of course, then we will move the appropriate clutter out of the way. So, July 12, 1941, Soviet partisans have been harassing German supply wagons, and in an attempt to root out local combatants, a platoon of German trackers are searching a nearby abandoned Soviet village for the partisans and weapons stockpiles. With the first knock on a door, gunfire erupts from the surrounding woods. The partisans must eliminate the elite German patrol before they locate the partisans' base of operations. So we have the turn track here. We're on turn 1, start of mission. It goes along until turn 12, the end of mission. Over here we have the command points tracker. The Russians start with 4 CPs per turn, and the Germans start off with 1 victory point because they are in possession of the mission objective. Further victory points are they will lose a VP, and the Soviets gain a VP if if the Soviets take control of this marker. Also, if the Germans inflict casualties, for every Russian casualty, the Germans get a victory point, and vice versa. For every German casualty, the Russians get a victory point. The decks are all set up per the scenario instructions, so we're ready to go. Turn 1, the first thing we do is the Russians will draw a card, and they get a command action card. Costs 0 action points or command action points. A player may take 1 free action or reaction with any unit, so that's in my back pocket. And so we're going to just jump right in and explain the rules as we go. So if you're not familiar with the system, then you'll soon pick it up. It's relatively simple. I would say of the war games of this scale that I've played, World War II, like Last 100 Yards is much more complex. Combat Commander, more complex, and similarly Band of Brothers, I played that once a long time ago. That would say is more complex. This is the most simple of the lot. It does have well, we'll get into what it all has. We'll just jump right in without a boring rules explanation. So first of all, it does say that the scenario is kicked off with a burst of gunfire. So this unit over here, lying in wait in the woods, does have a flank shot at this guy here. Flank shot because each unit has a frontal arc, so this one here has a frontal arc 1, 2, 3, and if fire is coming in outside of that frontal arc, which extends up here and out here, then it's a flank shot, and so the flank defense of 11 rather than a frontal defense of 12 will be used. So we'll take a flank shot. So this guy will kick off the proceedings by shooting, and he will be shooting with the red 3, because against a soft target that is the number that's used, 3. We'll throw in 1 action point, moving this down to 3, and so that's a +1 DRM to the dice. And what do we get? Alright, so we have 3, 4, 7 is 14. What we actually needed was 11. If we'd so that is a hit. If we'd beaten the 11 by 4 or more, as in if we'd got 15, we would have eliminated this unit. So we were close to eliminating the unit, but all we did was put a hit marker on it to so it's A unit will, the first time it takes a casualty, will have a hit marker placed on it. The second time, if it still has a hit marker on it and takes another casualty, then the unit is eliminated. We produce the hit marker from the book, from the cup, from the mug, and without looking at it, we place it underneath the unit. The hit marker will have to be revealed at some point, but for now, the Russian player does not know the contents of that hit marker. All right, so the Russian player expended 4 action points, top left number here, to fire. So now we'll do a spent check. And looking down at the number here, if it is greater than or equal to 3, the unit is spent and is flipped. So he is flipped. And now we go on to the German. The German AI is controlled by this AI deck right here. So what are the Germans going to do? Well, first of all, after this action, we're going to reshuffle the deck with only 2 cards out. Not a big deal. And let's go. And what we do is we just go through all these rows here until we find the conditions that are met, and then we execute that condition. If there is a this is not a command card, so it applies to only units that are not spent, which is all of them. Why is this guy showing up as spent? There we go. They are all not spent at the beginning. This being the beginning of the scenario. There is no German unit stacked with another unit. There is no German unit adjacent to a Russian unit. So we will move down to execute counteractions. Counteractions. If no unit just fired, well, this unit did just fire, so we will not execute the counteraction. And we move on to this one. The hit AI closest to a mission objective will rally. Well, there is only one hit AI, so that is closest to a mission objective, which is here. So it will try and rally. So now we do need to look at the card, the chit, to see what it is. Foot panicked. So what this means is the unit cannot fire, and its frontal defense is reduced by 2. 12 minus 2 is 10, but its flank defense, interestingly, is increased from 11 plus 1 to 12. But we're trying to rally to remove this, and so we need an 8 or more. The unit is in the open, so there is no defense dice roll modifier for terrain. So here we go, trying to get an 8 or better. And we get a 9. So that unit rallies, and the chit goes back in the mug. Now, that unit has spent 5 action points to rally, so let's see. 5 is more than 3, so the unit is spent. Now on to the Russians. So that rally is rather unfortunate. This unit is spent. I could play my card here to make it fire again, but I think I will keep that in reserve. I'm just going to move this unit down here, closer to the action. We'll go there. The unit, by the way, can move into one of its frontal arc hexes. If it was moving to any of the others, it would have to either rotate and then move next turn, or it would have to reverse at the cost of an extra movement point, extra action point. So it is going to move into that frontal arc hex there and expend 1 action point. Let's see if it is spent. Oh no, greater than or equal to 1. It spent the 1. It is done. Okay, on to the Germans. Let's see what they're going to do. This is a command order. So command order is the AI's version of command action points. Any unit spent or active can be selected to execute this order, and there is no spent check at the end of the order. So again, we just roll down the lines to see which one applies. Nope. Highest firepower AI furthest excuse me, from a fresh hit unit. Do we have any hit units? We do not have any hit units, so that does not apply. Fresh, unhit, mobile AI closest to an in-line of sight mission objective or spent unit move towards that mission objective. Well, okay, so there is one mission objective, but it is currently German controlled. So this unit here definitely line of sight to this mission objective. The same unit also has line of sight to this spent unit, but this is closer, so the unit will move in to the mission objective and do a free rotation there. So it's move 1 plus 1 for moving into a building is expended 2 AP, but this is a command order, so there's no need to do a spent check. Alright, given that, what are the Russians going to do? The Russians are going to try and angle around to get a little bit closer to this spent unit here and move this unit in cover of the heavy woods from here to here. So heavy woods is a 1+1 action point, so that's 2 action points they've spent. Let's see if those Russians are spent. They are not, because they spent less than 5. So now the next card will be for the German AI. Oh, another command order. So any unit is eligible. There's no unit in the same, no German unit stacked with a Russian unit. There is no German unit adjacent, so we would execute counteractions. If no unit just fired, which is the case because this unit didn't fire, it moved, the AI closest to a spent unit will move towards that unit. So we've got a choice. We've got, because this is a command order, this unit is also eligible even though it is spent. But this one or this one. But in the rules which you use to select the appropriate unit to move when there are multiple candidates, the spent unit will not be considered if there is an active unit. So counter actions move towards a spent unit. So this one here is well, there's another spent unit over here. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here, those 1, 2, 3. So this is the one, and he will move into there, grabbing the cover of the building and possibly thwarting the Russians' plans. Now, I think I would advise the German AI to do a rotation there so that they have a frontal arc here, here, and here, just in case. Just to prevent this one moving here and getting a flank shot into this guy. Alright, so that was the command order, so no spent check. Over to the Russians. Well, there's a DRM of one cover here, so this one is actually 13, but this one being adjacent will be firing with a 3+2 for a 5 shot. So we're going to fire into here. We're going to spend actually no, we will not. We'll keep this for another case, maybe if we need to do a rally or something like that. A rally attempt, that is. So we will spend 1 CP to add 1 to the dice. So this is 3 plus 1 for the CP we spent, plus so no luck there. No chance of any injuries, but we did still spend the 4 action points. So let's see. Greater than or equal to 4. So I'm afraid to say this unit is spent. Alright. Now back to the Germans. It is not a command order. If AI, first thing, if AI plus units is less than or equal to 4, then we would move the time marker along the time track, but that is not the case because we have way more than 4 units of total on the map. So This only applies to active units. We do have an adjacent one. This one here is adjacent to this one. This is the only one. So this one is the rule we will apply. Rally, he's already rallied, or fire, or pivot. So we will fire. So this one is shooting into here with 2, again plus 2 because of the close proximity, so 4, and the dice roll is added to the 4. That gives a total of 10. So the cover of this unit is, the defense value of this unit rather is 12 plus 2 for the cover because this is heavy wood, so 14, so the Russian survives. And let's see, the German, being better at shooting, costs them less action points at least. I've only spent 2, and they are, this is greater than or equal to 3, so the German unit is not used up. So what to do, what to do? Well, I think the Russians at this point are going to they've got one active unit left. They're going to pass and see what the AI does with that. So back to the Germans. It's another command order. Every unit is eligible. It's going to be this one here. There's going to be another fire attack with no risk of being spent. So again, it is 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 8 is a 12. And this defense is 12, 13, 14. So the Russian lives to fight another day, and the Russians again will pass. And the Germans, this is not a command order. The time is just moved on 1. Moved on 1, then this event occurs directly. Roll sniper fire. Roll 1d6. 1. This is the. It says German caps, but actually it means Russian caps because you could play this scenario as the Germans or the Russians, being the AI. So this is if the sniper will remove potentially remove some of the Russian caps. So the dice roll is a 5 minus 2 Russian CAPs. So this goes to 0. So much for saving those caps. I should have used them. All right, and then again we are here. Fire or pivot or rally. So we're going to fire again. 2, 4 are going to shoot into here with 14. Now, just to point, if this required an 11 shot for success, then the AI would not bother, would not fire. But it requires not only, but it requires a 10 shot. So we will a 10 on the dice for success, and that's not it. So and also this is not a command order. So we will see if this German unit is spent, and it is not spent. Should the Russians do something else? They do have this card in hand here. They could shoot back with this guy here, but they do shoot better than the Germans. They could try that. But I was keeping this just in case I needed to do a free rally. So I will pass again and then back to the Germans. Germans again. Oh, I think I forgot to reshuffle the deck after the first one. But anyway, now we have to reshuffle the deck after this action. There are only 2 cards taken out, so no big deal. Again, it'll be this one. So disengage or fire or rally. So it's a disengage order. All right. What exactly is a disengage order? Alright, well the definition of disengage is the AI will take a low risk move out of the close combat hex. But this is not in the close combat hex, but you know what I mean. This could include moving into the unit's flank or towards cover. The first priority is trying to decrease the AI's risk, then moving towards a mission objective. Alright, so we can decrease this unit's risk of being shot, even though this one is spent. by moving here. Yes, it's moving out of cover, but it's also moving further away from this one. So all in all, it's giving up the +1 DRM, but it is +1 modifier to its defense, but this unit is losing the +2 DRM to its attack, so that is a beneficial move for the German unit. It's 1, and then it is +1, I'm pretty sure, for reversing. So let's see if it is spent. And it is not spent. So now, what is the Russian to do? The Russian's going to pass again, and the Germans will carry on. The Russians, by the way, are me. I'm trying to end the turn, get all the Germans spent, and or have them pass as well, which can happen, and then we'll restart with all fresh units again. And I'm keeping this one active in case the Germans get frisky and try and move into close combat with this one. So anyway, let's see what the Germans do. It's not a command card, that's good. So these two do no longer apply. This one doesn't apply. Hit AI, we have no hit German AI. Highest firepower AI closest to a hit unit. We have no Russian hit units. Unhit AI closest to a target will move towards the target. So that's this one or this one. And so then we look at the to choose between them which has the lowest movement cost. This one has a cost of 1. This one has a cost of 1. So then we would then roll a dice probably to see who has the highest priority. Having a quick look at the movement priority selection to see if this gives us any more guidance. The AI will move out of a fire zone. That's priority 1. The AI will move into the highest defense modifier hex. That will be number 2. And then the AI will move towards an enemy's flank. Well, this unit here, moving only 1, cannot move out of the fire zone of this guy. However, this unit, moving along the road, can do that because it is tracked. So if it moves along the road, it can then carry on along the road here and then pivot, and that will have spent just one action point. So let's see if that unit is, it was not a command card, so let's see if that unit is spent as a result of that. And it is not. The Germans doing very well in not getting spent. Alright, well, the Russians will react to that by this unit here will rotate 1, spending 1 AP to keep both German units in its frontal arc. And it is not spent. Alright, moving on to the Germans. It is not a command card. Which one of these applies? The priority orders do not apply. Unhit AI closest to a fresh unit that just acted will fire, even if long range, but gets 1 cap. So we choose the most effective unit to fire, which would be this one firing with a 3 as compared to this one firing with a 2. So 3 plus 1 cap is a 4 plus, and just to check, this would be a 14. So it is an eligible shot. A 10 or 11 or 12 would inflict a loss on a casualty. And there's a 9. So a 9 plus 4 is 13, and it's 12 plus 2 for the cover of heavy woods. The Russian unit survives because it rotated to take the fire into its frontal arc rather than its flank. The German unit has spent 2 caps. Let's see if it is spent. It is not spent. The Russian unit will pass again, I think. And the Germans will, not a command card. AI closest to the lowest DV unit will fire. Well, the lowest defense value unit would be, this will be 14, 14, and this one, this is the lowest defense value, but it is not in a line of sight of any German unit or fire arc, so that one is ineligible. So it looks like we are dealing with either this one or this one. We have two AIs here and here. Again, this one has the higher fire attack, but it would be 3 firing at 14, which would need an 11 to inflict a casualty. This one will be even worse, 2 firing at 14. So the AI chooses not to fire, and we'll move on to the next order. An unhit AI closest to a spent unit will move towards that unit. Well, that would seem to be the spent units are here, here, and here. This unit is closest, the unhit AI. So, in a change of heart, the AI will move back into the building. Spending 2 AP to do so. Let's see if it's spent. It is not spent. It's Germans. The Russians will pass. If you recall, this one got spent after using up a solitary 1 action point. The Russians pass. Germans again. Again, it's not a command card. Now it's back to this one. We have an adjacent situation here, so we will fire. So it is 2 trying to get a 10 to equal 14. And that is a 7, so that is a miss. And surely this time they will be spent. And yes, they are. They are spent. Okay, 2 German units left to go. The Russians again will pass because this one here is not going to advance out into the open or do anything silly with 2 unspent units to the front. So the Russians pass and the Germans. Okay, this is the danger of the Russians passing, is that time will move along as it is going to here. If AI plus units is less than or equal to 6, oh maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the time does not move along. It is not a command order, so the fresh AI is less than fresh units. Fresh AI is 2, so that is greater than the fresh units, so the AI will not pass. AI closest to a target. So we're talking about as it is not a command order, it is one of these two. The AI closest to a target, this would be the target, these two are both closest, will low risk move towards. So this unit can low risk move towards because it stays in the fire arc when it is moving into cover, from the open into cover. So it will move in there and it will shift like that, and that costs this unit 2 APs. So let's have a look. 5, it is still not spent. So if this infantry unit were to fire against the armored unit, this has a blue defensive value, so we would use a blue firepower, which would be 0. 0 because of proximity, plus 2, so it would be fine with the 2, and it would need to get a 12 or higher. With no caps left to spend, that would be the odds are against this one doing anything meaningful. The one other it can either stay there or the Russians could fall back. The Germans will be firing with a 3 plus 2 is a 5, trying to get a 14. It's better odds for them. the Russians will fall back to there. It's reversing back, so it's that'd actually be 3 APs if they did that. It would be 1 to move, plus 1 for the forest, plus 1 for reversing would be 3 action points. So they would likely be spent in that case. So they will just stay there. They will, and we will just pass. All right. Off to the Germans again. Plus 1 on the time with no conditions. So time moves on to 3. And now we have a priority here. We will do a fire because these are adjacent. So 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 5 is 10 is not enough. Is not the 14 we were looking for to inflict a casualty here. And he has spent 2 action points and is still not spent. Russians will pass. Germans will carry on. Command order. So this is a freebie, and it's going to be, oh no, it's this one here. Well, actually, this one or this one is eligible. This one has the higher fire attack, and they're both comparable defense. So this one will be the one. So it's a fire plus 2 caps. So it's firing 3 plus 2 for proximity plus 2 caps means it's firing as 7 plus plus 3. The Russians got lucky there. It's only a 10, so no effect. It's a command order though, so nobody does a spent check. Russians will hang in there. Germans again. Okay, another fire attack. And this guy here, 3, 5 plus the dice roll is 10 again, and that's a miss. Are they spent? They are indeed spent. So that opens up some possibilities for the Russians here to potentially move in here and then take out the half track, the Germans' best unit. All right, so it being the Russian turn, we'll move in there so that there's cover here. So it's 1 plus 1 to move into the building. We'll rotate there. And even in close combat situation, you have to maintain the facing of the units in case somebody fires in from an external hex. So that was they're spending 2 action points. Let's see if they are spent. And of course, the Russians are spent. Okay, and now the Germans. It's a command order. This is very bad news because this activates everybody, including the half track in the close combat hex. So the very first order will be executed. Fire at plus 1 cap. So it's really bad news. It just gets worse and worse for the Russians. So we're firing at 3. Plus 1 cap is 4. Plus 4 because of the proximity, because they're in the same hex. So that's an 8, a base of 8. And the defense for the Russians is 11. The flank defense plus 1 for the cover is 12. But still. 5, I think that's going to do it. Didn't eliminate them outright, which I guess is something. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 5 is 12. So it only just managed to add a hit marker to this unit because the flank strength, the defense value is 11 plus 1 for the building is 12. So, but it's a tie. So we have to reach in to the cup, give it a good shake, and pull out the chit, which of course are visible for the Russian player, and that's what we have. Suppressed. So firing costs 1 more. 3 plus 1 is now 4, and is minus 2 is not as effective. video faux pas there. I forgot to restart the video and I was chatting away playing. So I've this is the card, but that's why these decks have moved around a little bit. But I've tried to recreate, gone back a little bit, and to maintain some kind of continuity. So the Russian unit here has just been broken. I do have this command action card. I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that. Cost 0 APs or caps. So my choices could be I could try and rally, but that's a long shot. I could move in. I could move. So where do I want to move? Well, I'm going to move. Well, this is what I did last time, so I'll do it again. Didn't work out very well, by the way. But anyway, I will move here because and then free because the rally, the foot suppressed. It does deplete my firepower. I did do a rules check. This -2 here is there are updated counters in the Storms of Steel version of the game and beyond. It's -2 red and -2 blue, so it suppresses the firepower for anti-tank as well as anti-personnel. But so I could have stood and fought in there. I could play this one. I could play a fire attack in here. It would be -2 +4, so it would be overall. I'd be +2 with a 0, a 2 shot, trying to get a 13. So very unlikely I'd actually do any damage to the half track. So I'm going to move out of here, out of its fire arc, and hang out there. So that is my command card spent. Back to the Germans. The Germans. Okay, so not a command card, so only this unit is affected. AI, the first two priorities are not going to trigger. AI closest to a lowest defense value unit will fire. This unit cannot see any units in its fire arc. This unit's blocked. Line of sight is blocked by the building. This unit, it is outside of the fire arc, so this one will not trigger. Unhit AI closest to a spent unit will do a low risk move towards that unit. So low risk move, the priorities for a low risk move are it would have to try and if it was inside the fire arc, it would if it was outside a fire zone, it would stay out. If it was in a fire zone, which it is from this unit here, even though it's spent, it may move into another fire zone hex that has the same or higher defense modifier than the hex it started from. So, for example, it can't move out of the building into the open, or it couldn't move here. The AI may pivot towards a unit that is flanking it. So a low risk move would be in this case, this unit is flanking this unit, so it will pivot. Is it a low risk move? It has not moved further away from this unit and it has spent one action point. Let's see if it is spent. And it is not spent. The Russians are all spent themselves, so it's back to the Germans again. If AI plus units is less than or equal to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no, so time does not move along. Which is not a command card, so this is the only unit it applies to. AI closest to a target, which will always be this one, low risk move towards the target. It can't do a low risk move because anything it does move would be moving out of cover, so that would not be a low risk move. AI in a 0 DM hex, nope. Highest firepower AI closest to a unit will fire. So this is 2. This guy is in the open. So a 10 would actually cause a hit, so it is eligible to fire. If it was an 11 or higher shot, this would not shoot. So this one works. Highest firepower AI, this is the only one, closest to a unit will fire. So we'll take a shot with a base of 2 plus plus 11, and that gives us 13, which exceeds the 12. We only need to equal 12, so this unit moves on to the casualty track. Casualty track, it appears there, not really a casualty track, it moves on to the cap track, which effectively limits the Russians for every turn hereafter into only getting 3 caps instead of 4. This unit goes away here, back into the chit, and the Germans get one more victory point, and they now have this game well in hand with 2 VPs. Alright, the Germans just spent 3 action points. Let's see. Add 3 or equal spends the unit. And so that means that this turn is over because all units on both sides are spent. So both sides effectively will have to do consecutive passes ending the turn. So that's that. The Germans are doing very well. They rolled very well with their shooting, as is evidenced by that last 11. They kept their units from being spent much better than the Soviets did, and so all in all, the game is going very well for them. It is going to be critical to see who starts off the next round with the initiative, because this unit here, oh, it's in cover, but this one is in a slightly better cover and can shoot better too with a 3. So we'll see if the Russians can stage a comeback. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and please do not hesitate to point out any of the multiple errors I'm sure I made in the comments section, and we'll see you next time.